Live from New York, this is WIUR Radio.
Hello, everybody. I'm Jason Adams, and today, welcome to my first show of Generic Talkin' Sports Show, GTSS. I'm a freshman, brand new to this, and I'm looking forward to talking sports about with you. I'm a little shaky, but we'll get started. My first talking point is definitely going to be the Giants and the Jets because, boy, they're a mess, like always. I'm a Jets fan, so we'll talk without them first because, well, after the positives of week one, it's a disastrous week two. The Giants, Justin Fields goes into concussion protocol and doesn't even throw the ball doesn't throw the ball good before that. It's been an absolute mess so far. The defense cannot get a stop, even though the penalties are just an absolute joke. What are we doing here? Didn't really come up with what to talk about. Clemson, what are you doing there? You cannot immediately rough the passer immediately. Wow, I did not write a lot about the Jets, did I? Jets. The big talking point, I think I'll start first, is Tyrod Taylor. Is he coming in? Or is Justin Fields going to start? Because what a joke that Justin Fields put on. After having such a good week one, you cannot look like that. It's incredible how after 1 week of brilliance, you can look such a mess. I know he's had career spurts like that, where he's had a couple years ago, we had the stretch of games where he looked really good. He looked comfortable. And then all of a sudden he goes through spurt. That's why the Bears got rid of him. That's why the Steelers got rid of him. It's the same thing week in, week out for the Jets. And it's so frustrating because watching it every week, I've been a fan for about myself, I would say around 5 to 6 years. So the dark ages, I've never seen a bright age in my life of Jets football. But to go from last season, which was wholeheartedly a disaster, to now looking like, even though we had those positives in week one and just going to another disaster with week two, it is an absolute joke. And I don't know what to say about it. I don't really have stats to point out, but just from the eye test, you stop watching after the third quarter because what's the point? This is the stuff we have watched for 3 straight years where games just feel uncompetitive after 2 quarters. The offense is putrid. The offense is barren. It doesn't look like anything after having such a good week one. And then you have the issues of now the positives were the offense. The defense was the bad part. The defense always played good and was always the bright side, always kept the Jets in games when the offense struggled. And now when you pick the way the defensive struggles now with the offensive struggles, it's now just you're one of the worst teams in the NFL. I think Aaron Glenn is the coach of the future. I love his energy. I love what he does. But the fact that this team looks so incompetent still, it is such a joke. It is so annoying, and I cannot handle this anymore as a fan. It disgusts me. It just absolutely disgusts me. I have never seen a good lick of football. I can't even really get into football as much as I want to because of the issues of the Jets. Because you usually need that team. You need your team to at least have one good run, one time where it gets you hooked as a fan. I have never experienced that, and I can never get into football the way I want to my personal self. And it's just so frustrating. So frustrating. And I don't know what else to say about that because that's just all my personal feelings about my personal team. But the Giants, on the other hand, have a lot more interesting storylines. Malik Neighbors looks fantastic again. It's just, guys, so good, even with weird quarterback situation. But that's definitely what I'm going to talk about first because the quarterback situation is weird right now. Week 1, Russell Wilson, disastrous. I mean, absolute mess of a game for Russell Wilson. And then, Prox says, is Jackson Dart going to come in? Is he going to take over the play? Because of just how bad Russell Wilson was. But then now you look at week 2 and it's, oh my God, the offense was amazing. I think it was like Russell Wilson's like best career game almost. We're talking. Malik Neighbors had 100, I think like 50 yards or something. Not exactly sure myself. But and then it's week 1 was offensive disaster, week 2 defensive disaster. So what is this team going to be? Is it the Cowboys offense just so incredible? Is Dak going to do a regular season Dak again? I don't know. But I don't know what you do if you're the Giants at this point because Dable still struggling for his job. Giants GM still struggling for his job. These guys are both in turmoil where they don't know what they want to do with the quarterback, but they know their job's on the line. So that also that puts a risk factor in it. Do I risk my entire job on this rookie quarterback that we just drafted in a mid-first round pick? Or do we completely turn to the veteran who has just been so inconsistent these past couple of years, even though he led the Pittsburgh Steelers to a playoff game like they always do, because how do they always do that? But I don't know if I'm the Giants. I would still say truck it out with Wilson. I'm not completely sure if Dable's the coach of the future. I don't know how much I would believe in him at this point. But yeah, I am so just speechless for the Giants as well. Anyway, moving past the disastrous New York football, it also doesn't get better in Cincinnati because my God, Joe Burrow out for 3 months, excuse me. 3 weeks wasn't so bad. 3 months for the Bengals as they hope Jake Browning is the guy. But I need to talk about it because I saw a stat that really shocked me. Andrew Luck retired because he had such a bad O-line and was getting constantly injured. I think he was 159 sacks in his career, and he was like 31 when he retired. Joe Burrow is like 28, and he's already 50 more, has taken 50 or 60 more sacks than Andrew Luck did. And it is an absolute joke that the Bengals, who have been this close before, they were I think a field goal away back in 21 of winning that Super Bowl, getting over that field. And now it's just to go back and take that step back and just continue to struggle with the O-line. The defense is an issue. They have a franchise quarterback. They have a top 3 quarterback in the entire NFL and will probably be one of the best quarterbacks of all time when he retires. But the fact that they cannot even make the playoffs now, and they're probably not going to make it now because it's a disaster here. And now, like, why can't the Jets have that? We finally have an O-line, but no quarterback, like always. But I don't see the Bengals doing anything now. It's a joke. They run their organization so stupidly with how they cannot build their team around this franchise quarterback. And the fact that they've made a Super Bowl in this time frame is incredible to me. And Joe Burrow deserves all the credit in the world for handling this the way he has and just driving be the driving force behind his team. It is incredible to watch. He is incredible to watch. The Bengals are not. Football front, I didn't really watch a lot of week 2 football because my team sucks. And like I just said, it's hard to watch football when your team is garbage. So I need to find something else to talk about in week 2. Oh, the Dolphins. That's a good one. That's a fun one because that's a divisional rival. And I do know some more stuff about that. They suck. And it's really funny. Mike McDaniels is the funniest coach I have ever heard talk in my life because he is so upfront. He just seems like he's stoned half the time, and you got to respect that. But I love the energy. I mean, hearing him talk, he knows he's getting fired in like a week, so he's just going to start dropping crazy quotes like he did. He was doing that stuff earlier in the preseason when he was saying stuff like, "Oh, we're one day closer to death" or something. He's crazy. He's stupid. He's weird. But the Dolphins are a mess. Even though they have so much talent, it's kind of weird. I know their quarterback's brain is like mush at this point, but it's just an absolute disaster down in Miami. And you love to see it, to be honest, because Miami fans have been miserable, the ones I've interacted with. Bills look great. Of course they do. They are the Bills now. Not they're gonna win anything. Patriots. Um, really need to figure a way to segment this. Patriots. Why can I not remember the quarterback's name? Gonna come back to that one because I cannot remember the quarterback's name for the Patriots. AFC Cowboys looked very good against the Giants. Well, actually, don't really know if that's a Cowboys good or Giants just bad. Probably a little bit of both, but I could be stupid. Um, After a week one disaster, they got to take that stuff. I'm trying to figure out a way to segue this to the sport I know a little bit more about, which is baseball. But uh oh no. Uh oh, Chiefs suck. The Chiefs have been a mess. I can talk about that because that's very funny. Also, got to talk about this. This popped in my brain. And actually, now that I'm thinking about the Chiefs, the whole Rashid Rice with the shirt. What are they thinking? The Chiefs are already probably one of the most dislikable teams in the entire NFL because they're good, and everybody hates a good team after a while because that's just how it works. The people were probably it's happened the same thing with the Patriots and how everybody was a fan of them probably when they went on their first like 2 runs, and then oh my god, now we're getting sick of it. Go away. The Chiefs run into the same situation where everybody's sick of them. They've been to 3 straight Super Bowls. They finally lost one. Everybody cheers for it, even though it was the Eagles, and nobody really likes Philadelphia because it's Philadelphia. But the problem is to wear a shirt to say that says free rice, free four, when the guy literally committed almost killed or injured 4 people and fled the scene at the same time. It is an absolute joke to think about that. I mean, what are you doing? This is not like some small like it's the same thing with stuff like this always bothers me when players like this are allowed to play in the NFL, where players like Jalen Carter are able, even though after committing such a heinous act and barely getting punished for it, are able to just immediately collect millions of dollars from these NFL teams. It drives me insane. It disgusts me. And the fact that the team supports him, even though he almost killed 4 people and immediately drove away, had just committed a hit and run. It blows my mind away, and I'm so happy, so happy that they are 0-2 because they just deserve it. And also, Kelsey and Swift deserve it too for their lovely honeymoon. But thinking about it, NFL. That's all I really got for the NFL. Can I?
Live from New York, this is WIUR Radio.
Oh. All right. Well, I'm going to segue this, I believe.
This is WIUR Radio.
Hi, this is Anthony Carlo, TV news reporter in New York City and proud alum. If you're looking for a career in media, Iona is the place to be. From internships to real-world experience, Iona's media program is unprecedented. Take it from an industry professional who made it in the biz.
Now back to WIUR, Iona University Radio.
All right. Welcome back after that quick commercial break because I had to find a way to transition this because new to the game here. We now go into the sport that I know probably or the second most about, baseball. And first thing I'm going to talk about is the team that's going through probably the biggest series of the year, 100%. My team, the New York Mets. It has probably been from the multiple seasons I've been watching since I was around a little 8-year-old boy. Probably the worst season I have ever watched as a Mets fan. And that's saying something because this has probably been there's been a lot of miserable Mets teams. 2023 comes to mind, 2022 comes to mind. But to the fact that this team has gone through such a bipolar season, from going to best team in the league, oh my God, super World Series contender, to an absolute disaster, to you're almost out of the playoff spot, 1.5 games to be exact. Now, I know everybody, it's been a fact that every single player on this team has struggled at the exact same time. The offense will struggle. August was a sign of whoa. August was such a positive with the offense, but then the pitching has a meltdown, or the bullpen has a meltdown. Or then the pitching will go like 6 shutout innings by Nolan Complain, 1-0 loss to Aaron Nola, who sucks a lot. Aaron Nola sucks, and he went 6 shutout innings and then proceeded to go in his next start 6 runs in like 4 innings. So only the Mets could do that and waste Nolan McLean, which, by the way, generational start. Like nobody's ever done what he's doing, which is incredible. Please let him be an ace for 15 years. But then next thing you know, the offense disappears and then the pitching is incredible. Or the offense, it's just been an absolute mess. But we go into the series preview between the Padres and the Mets. And last time a big series against the Padres and Mets didn't go so great. I was actually at one of the 2022 wild card games, the first game. Yeah, 8-1 loss. Remember that very vividly. Max Scherzer just absolutely loaded the diaper with his just horrible pitching performance. Losing words for how bad and embarrassed that was watching that in person. But going into the series preview, I should say, I believe it is, Sprout. Let me get this up real quick. I don't exactly know the starters. Just get game 1 out of the way. It is Holmes tonight versus King for the Padres. Future Met, by the way. Holmes has been so weird because he's been what you expect, a 4 or 5 starter who could pitch 5 innings, maybe give up 2 or 3 runs, but he's going to keep you in. But the problem is the innings. He's never gone this many innings in his career. And the Mets have been very cautious of that, pulling him after 5 innings, even though he has like 70 pitches. And that makes sense. You're easing the guy who you just signed to be that low-end starter who was just a reliever for so many years, learning how to throw hard, and his arm is getting used to it. Lineups, I don't think the lineups have been posted yet, so I can't really talk about that. But I mean, I can talk about last time these teams played. Joke. I remember watching the game 1 of that series the most because Vientos grand slam when he was struggling so much. My God, that hurt my soul. I'm such a big Vientos fan. I've never been more hurt when he struggled at the beginning of the year. I'm so happy, so happy he's finally starting to figure it out because I was the biggest Vientos believer last year, in my personal opinion, and then now this year, and he slowly start. I thought they were going to trade him. I was going to be so sad if they did, but yeah, we got swept 3-0 in San Diego, and it wasn't particularly close. They had a 6-1 lead in one game, blew it after like the same exact inning they took the lead, so that's fun. Hopefully we don't go through the same thing because now this has much more playoff applications than it did before. The Mets, who I think are around 4 games back of the Padres. You could gain a lot of ground with a series win here, 2 games, or even 3 if you sweep them, but that's probably not realistic because the pitching has been so doggo. But to think about it, the Mets, if they lose this series, and let's just say perfect world, the Diamondbacks, who are now the closest team, which where the hell did they come from? Genuinely shocked me so much when I saw them being right behind us, not the Reds or the Giants, even the Giants who sold us their pieces, which you can't help but laugh. It's been like the fact that if you lose this series and you are almost out of a playoff spot or you are out of a playoff spot, what do? You're probably going to miss the playoffs, I think, if you lose this series, personally, I feel. Because the Diamondbacks are really hot, so are the Giants, but they're playing each other, so they'll kind of cancel each other out. Or hell, even the Reds can sneak up on there because there's only 2 games back. But the fact that this team has gone through such a bad stretch at the worst possible time, and it's been the same core of players who have been a part of multiple collapses like this. Soto, not the problem, and guess what? He wasn't a part of those previous collapses. He has not been the issue. He's actually probably arguably could win MVP, probably finishes top 5, not going to win it because Ohtani's Ohtani, and that's just how MLB works. Lindor was an issue for a while. He figured it out more, but he still hasn't been the Lindor. He's been Lindor, like he's been a 780 OPS guy. He's not going to hit three. I don't know why people still hate on him. I love Lindor, genuinely the most. He did go through that rough stretch, but the big guys I want to talk about though, who have been a part of this core for longer than both of those guys, are Pete and Jeff, because this has been a big talking point I've seen a lot of, and it is what happens to those two. Pete's going to probably opt out and select for free agency, and he's probably going to get a lot of money from a team stupid enough. And I'm really hoping that the Mets aren't that team. I think it has been such a joke. He has been here for so long, and cool, Pete, you're the home run all-time leader. That's awesome, dude. I don't care. I want to win. I want to watch a winning team, and I've seen one winning team in my life. Well, I've seen a team go to the World Series, but I'm not counting that, I'm counting the new regime. The Mets, Pete Alonso has been a mess. I mean, the guy goes from MVP candidate to disastrous second half to maybe saving the season last night. And I'll give him credit. I'll give him his props for that. Saved the season last game with the walk-off 3-run home run. And guess what? Last time somebody hit an opposite field home run like that, it was Pete Alonso in Game 3 of the Milwaukee series. And that completely turned the season around. And that season, 2024, is now considered the best season I've ever seen as a sports fan. Or one of the top seasons of sports fan life. But Pete and Jeff have been a part of this since, I believe, 2019 they both came up. Well, Pete obviously set the home run record. Jeff, I also think, but maybe he was up in 2018. I'm not exactly sure. But these guys both come up, and they were part of the electric 2019 Mets team, who should have made the playoffs, but then the Brewers made the playoffs, had that whole funny Trent Grisham moment. Haha, Trent Grisham. 2020 disaster, one of the best offenses of all time, but just couldn't come up in the clutch moments. It was a very weird year in 2020. And then you have 2021. You spend all this money on Lindor. He sucks. Like, probably one of the worst players I've ever witnessed as a Met fan, who's getting paid way more than he should have been at the time. He evens out, gets a hot second half, or the end of the season, he looks better, but the team sucks and they trickle out, miss the playoffs again, disaster. And then 2022, which was looking to be a 2025 type of season, but instead they won 101 games and still didn't win the division, which that Atlanta series, that 3-game series in Atlanta, genuinely has haunted me every single time we go back there. And it does not ever change, and it will never change. And then following that series, you go to the San Diego series in Citi Field, where you have home field advantage. Joe Musgrove was totally cheating, but I'm not going to bring that up. But to bring that up, and then 2023 happens. Oh my God, Verlander and Scherzer, the old heads leading. Yeah, they suck, and they're gone by mid-August, the end of August. Sorry, the end of July. And Scherzer was a mess and then won a World Series with Texas, which really pissed me off. I was very bothered by that because, of course. Oh, and DeGrom. I can't forget about DeGrom leaving in the offseason. How did I forget about that? DeGrom leaves in the offseason. They spend all the money on Verlander, and then they suck. They're both gone. Everybody's gone. The future does look brighter, but the team looks like it's going to suck. And then 2024, they hire David Stearns. Starts out probably the worst season. It was probably going to be the most miserable season with how they were losing games. Oh, my God. They find new ways. 0-5, and then the 11 game. I think it was 11 games under 500. Then a pop star comes out of nowhere, saves the season, most magical moment. I mean, no team is like that. Like, the two teams could not be polar opposites, 2024 and 2025. 2024, you had magical comeback wins after every game. Every time. You knew the Mets weren't out of it, no matter the score, no matter what time, no matter what game of the season, postseason, regular season, they were always in it. It was so magical. God, I wish I could go back to that, because this team has pissed me off so much. And then I think it was the stats where it's like 56 times the Mets have been losing after 8 innings. They have never, every single time the Mets have been losing after 8 innings, they haven't come back. Like, they're 0 in like 50 something, 59 or something. And that's incredible, because last year they had like almost a winning record when losing after 7 innings or something. And it's like they used all the magic, the devil magic they used last season just wore out. And it's so frustrating to think about, because they spent all this money on Soto, and what do you know? Somehow the team is worse. But I'm jumping all around. Let's get back to the Pete and Jeff's talk, because they're two making the most money. They're some of them. other than like Soto and Lindor. And yeah, I think that's all that's ahead of him. Soto and Lindor have been worth the penny. Every penny this season, every penny last season. Jeff has been good for about one of those 4 seasons he signed to that contract. And I'm not saying Jeff's not a bad player. He's a utility player. He can play all around the field. He can play center field. He can play right field. He can play third base. He can probably play anywhere he wants other than like catcher or pitcher. He probably could play pitcher too, but he just doesn't want to waste his arm like that. But you have him, and then you have Pete, who is 100% an all-time Met. He will be remembered for that home run in Milwaukee. I'm going to remember him for that home run in Milwaukee. Almost every Met fan is going to remember him for the home run in Milwaukee. But the fact that these guys have been here for so long, and they have won 2 playoff series, one of them by the skin of their teeth. The other one, they just blew out the Phillies because the Phillies bullpen sucked. It has been just absolutely hilarious. But Pete, I want him gone. If they miss the playoffs, what has Pete done other than the home run record and then the Milwaukee home run? I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say like he's done nothing. He's done a lot. But the Milwaukee home run was a year ago, almost a year ago now. And that will always mean everything to me as a Mets fan. Thank you, Pete, for that. I've never seen, that's probably the most clutch hit I've ever seen in my life. It's one of the most clutch hit of all time. But thanks, Pete, for that. But if you miss the playoffs and you are one of the reasons, because of just how bad you've been during this horrible stretch for the Mets, it's been brutal. It's been hard watch. And I want you gone because you're going to probably command 180, 190 million dollars, maybe even 200. And that's bad. If you think you're worth $200 million, get off the team. You're not worth that. That's way too much, way too expensive for me. Even though it's not my money, I still don't like my team's payroll being that high. And then Jeff is not a free agent. He's more of you can trade him in the offseason. I want Jeff traded as well because I've always felt weird about Jeff. I like Jeff personally, but I've always do feel like a lot of people feel like he's always probably a locker room catcher. He's probably not. And he's probably just because of the whole New York Rat situation back in 21. But other than that, I've always felt off about the whole Jeff in the locker room. And I really just don't like, he's making 20 mil, I think, a year. And that's just not worth it in my eyes. He's a utility player who can hit. He's lost his contact power. He was good that stretch. He looked like he looked like a $20 million player for a little bit. And then he just completely fell off the planet and has not been the same since. But yeah, that's how I feel about those two because they're a mess. And I think they should be gone at the end of the season if things call for that. Yeah, so I think we move on to the Yankees real quick because I haven't really been paying too much attention to the Yankees, but all I know is that they're not as much of they were a little bit of a mess like with the Mets. Both teams are struggling at the same time, especially that sweep in Miami, and then things have seemed to stall out. They've not been as bad, but they haven't been as good as they should have been. Now they've losing series to the Red Sox. And I believe they're just ahead of the Red Sox, maybe a game ahead of the Red Sox, I'm pretty sure. Let me check for you real quick. Yeah, they're a half a game ahead of the Red Sox right now. Wait, a game and a half ahead of the Red Sox, but they've lost 2 straight to Detroit and now Minnesota. But, oh, wow, the Astros actually. Oh, wow, the Mariners are on top of the division. Did not know that. But both teams are chasing down the Blue Jays, which they're not going to catch. There's 12 games left. The Blue Jays are the hottest team in the league. But the Yankees, I need to think of stories to tell for this one. All I know is that the offense has been weird and streaky. They go from scoring 15 runs one game to scoring 2 or none the next. So they're very inconsistent. The pitching staff is very weird. Fried has not been the same since mid-July or something. And yeah. That's all I really got to say about the Yankees because I haven't done my research, the silly old me. I'm going to move on to find a way to segue this to the third segment, which I haven't figured out what I'm going to talk about yet. So I'll see you there.
This is WIUR Radio.
Hi, this is Anthony Carlo, TV news reporter in New York City and proud alum. If you're looking for a career in media, Iona is the place to be. From internships to real-world experience, Iona's media program is unprecedented. Take it from an industry professional who made it in the biz.
Now back to WIUR, Iona University Radio.
All right, folks, welcome back to GTSS, Generic Talking Sports Show. I'm Jason Adams, and well, now we're moving on to our third and probably final topic, and that's going to be personally my favorite sport, hockey. We're going to talk about the hockey season preview because preseason starts in a couple of days. Hey, that's exciting. But I'm specifically an Islander fan, so we'll talk about the Islanders first because they are probably the weirdest team I've ever watched coming into a season because I feel the most ecstatic I've ever felt for a season since the Islanders Cup Eastern Conference final runs back in the 21-22 season where they had a disaster, injuries, COVID, everything, and they couldn't beat a good team to save their lives. But that this team is probably in such a weird spot because I don't know as a fan what I want. I love this team and I want them to be good every year. Everybody wants you want your own team to be good. That's normal. But the Islanders have a really bright opportunity right now to move into this weird future where they can tank one more year and maybe even get hopefully if they won the draft lottery again and won a Gavin McKenna, the world would probably explode in my eyes. Like the world would be ending if that happened. But the Islanders would never get that lucky. But they got lucky with Schaefer, so I can't even complain. But for the way that everything's turned out, where the Islanders trade Dobson and they get Eklund and Aitchison at 15, I believe it was 16 and 17, and for the fact that they were able to get these prospects and not even Daniil Prokhorov, my God, the most fun, hopefully turns into a superstar somehow. I need this guy to be first liner, just all star. Like he would be a media darling with how I love him. From the clips I've seen of him. He's going to the OHL, so that's good. But I'm acting like this team doesn't have any spots on the team right now. They have still Barzell, Horvat, Drouin I really like as a signing. Duclair, I think, can bounce back. Maxim Shabanov, I think, he's going to be a good middle sixer and hopefully maybe enter the next Artemi Panarin, my little bias. Yeah. I'm going to say that until I'm proven wrong when he is eventually probably kicked out of the league after this one season. But let a man dream, right? That's the whole point of sports. But this team, the decor does suck. I do think the decor sucks, but the offense is not bad. I think the offense can be good. I think it'll be the exact opposite. I think we'll see nothing like I've never seen in Islander hockey where they play a lot more offense than defense other than 2018. But this team, in my opinion, could be good. I think they could make the playoffs. Not like a contender, but more of like maybe play a first round series and maybe even win a series good. I think Sorokin's he was already good last year, but I think we'll see probably like 9-15, 9-18 Sorokin again, like 9-15, 9-18 save percentage Sorokin, which if we do, I definitely think the Islanders make the playoffs. There's no doubt in my mind. I think the offense and the defense can be stable enough. But there's also a part of me that wants this team to suck one more year. Because even if all these things do go perfect and they do make the playoffs, and hell, they do win a series, I would personally love to just watch the Islanders compete for a cup in my life. Because if I could watch any championship, I'd watch the Islanders win a championship. That's all I care about as a sports fan is seeing my hockey team win a championship. That's been my only dream as a fan. Obviously, I want to see all my teams win, but Islanders specifically. But there's a part of me that wants to suck one more year because the 2026 draft is loaded. Viggo Bork, Ivar Stenberg, Kaiten Verhoff, even though he's a defenseman. But I'm thinking more of like the forwards. I think it's Ryan Rubrick. But you have all these young, talented, very talented forwards coming up in the draft. And I think that's what you mean now. You hopefully have your franchise defenseman of the future. You hopefully have that alternate key piece of the future in Victor Eklund. And you also have the hopefully good second stable pairing guy of Keyshawn Atkinson or Danny Nelson, hopefully the third line center of the future. Cole Eisman's hopefully sniping 40, 50 goals a season in the future. Callum Ritchie's hopefully the replacement of Brock Nelson, even though you just traded him. So like there are so many pieces that are there for this team to be competitive in 2028, 2027 that I think right now sucking one more year and getting a chance at that franchise piece, at that alternate talent changing, team changing talent. It is just incredible to me. And I think both ways they also have a lot of pieces to sell. I'm jumping way away. Lee, who can be, you retain 3.5 mil, a 50, 60 point great leader. You could probably fetch a first round pick for that. JG Pajot, even if you don't get a first round pick, you can probably get like a second or third round pick for him. And with retained salary, you probably could get a first round pick for JG Pajot as some team contending for a cup. You could probably have, technically speaking, you can probably get like a third round pick for Tony D'Angelo at the deadline, which is crazy to me. But you can trade all these pieces and be in such a brighter future again. Like it is constant. It never stops. The fluctuation of talent coming up through the system is bright. And I've never been more excited for hockey than I am now. So, yeah, the Islanders have me excited. They either way, whatever happens, the season, the future looks bright instead of the future looks grim. But I can't say the future looks bright for the other team in New York, the Rangers. They just named JT Miller the captain. That doesn't move me. I'm a hater of the Rangers, so I'm going to speak a lot of garbage about them, but I think it's very warrant for how they handle their team. I think there are a lot of cultural issues in that New York Rangers organization. I think there is a lot more deep-rooted issues that they are not talking about. I think a lot of Ranger fans I don't think the Rangers will be that good. I think they'll be borderline playoff team, but they will most likely miss the playoffs. I could not see. I could see them. I mean, Panarin. I don't think Zibanejad will be as bad as he was. I don't think Panarin will be as bad. I don't think Panarin was that bad, but I don't think he'll be as like. You trade Kreider, which is probably such a weird. It's gonna be so weird not seeing him because he's pretty much been a Ranger for almost my entire life. So that's gonna be a very weird thing seeing. What else? The decor, Adam Fox is totally bouncing back. He was already good last year, but I think he could probably win a Norris again. You know, he could win another Norris. He is that good, and I hate saying that because he's so annoying or forcing his way to the rags. It's just so disgusting. But the big Alexis Lafreniere is weird because he is talented. He should be good, and I do think they might end up trading him and just throwing him away like they did with Kako, even though he has a bigger contract than that. And it'll probably not work out because he'll probably burst out of the scene, finally break through and become that top end line scorer. Kako didn't turn into that, but he looked like he would. Who else? Gabe Perreault. The Rangers are really going to ruin another prospect like him, and it bothers me because Gabe Perreault looked fantastic in college, looked fantastic in the World Juniors, and it's the fact that they were healthy scratching him last year. You're out of the playoffs. You're not making it. Do not waste these chances of developing young stars like him. You need to, if the season's a throwaway, that should be your focus. You should never focus on the veteran players in a lost season. The fact that you put him on the fourth line, and I know they fired Peter Laviolette, but Peter Laviolette was an idiot, and former Islander coach, can't really disrespect him too much, even though he sucked. But you are wasting talent. You are wasting good talent like that, and they did it for Lafreniere, they did it for Kako, and they're probably going to do it for Perreault, and he'll probably be out there by age 23 and turning into a superstar in like Utah or something. It is a joke. They don't know how to handle young talent. They waste young talent, and yeah, hopefully the Islanders don't do that with Schaefer like they did with Lafreniere or. Now, the third and final team I'm going to be talking about, because I'm just jumping around because I really didn't think through this, is the Devils. The Devils are, in my opinion, a cup contender. I think if they stay healthy, they have probably one of the best decors in the league, probably the best. Hamilton, Siegenthaler, Hughes, Luke Hughes. Forgetting. Anyway, those three, I will say. Those three, Siegenthaler, Hamilton, Hughes, Pesci. I forgot about Pesci. And who else? I'm thinking for the guy who Sheldon Keefe called out, and it's really going to bother me when I remember his name when I'm walking back out of the studio. But anyway, that decor is fantastic and should be good, and the forward core is good. Mercer, Meyer, Jack Hughes, Mercer, Meyer, Jack Hughes, Bratt, who always just looks good. Meyer, Mercer, Bratt. Just that top four. And then you have a lot of depth. You have very solid depth in that team. And your goaltending situation, Markstrom looked good last year, was not the issue, not the reason you lost in the playoffs. it is so incredible to me to see this team always deal with injuries because they could win a cup. I genuinely see the Devils winning a cup in the next 3 years. They are they are that talented if they stay healthy. Obviously, I'd say this with a grain of salt. If they stay healthy, that's all that matters. That health is the biggest important thing in Devils. Jack Hughes staying healthy is really the only important thing, I should say. Him, Markstrom, and Luke Hughes also staying healthy. Dougie Hamilton staying healthy because he can never stay healthy. Oh, Simone Nemec. I forgot about Simone. Is Simone Nemec finally going to break out? He's always looked solid, but he's never gotten that chance to play. It's kind of weird because I thought he was going to request a trade, to be completely honest with you, because he wasn't not playing and I think he was starting to get frustrated. It was very obvious. I think he complained to like some Czech media that he wasn't playing and he was getting bothered by it. But does he finally break out? Does he finally pick that second overall pick worthy label of him and finally turn into something? I don't know. It is very frustrating. The Devils are such a weird team every year. I think they're good. They should be good. Will they be good? It's up to the health gods, the hockey gods. Any other hockey note? Oh, Caprice. I want to talk about Kaprizov because I genuinely think that he is going to be coming here. This will be my last topic because, boy, am I running out. Kirill Kaprizov is a superstar, and there is no doubt in my mind that he is not a superstar. But turning down 16.5 million cannot be he didn't like the money offer. I genuinely believe he does not like Minnesota. Even though I personally do like Minnesota, I think they'll be probably a top 3 seed in in their division. Like I think they could win. I think they could probably make a Western Conference final run or a Cup final run. I really like them. Even if Jesper Wallstead turns into something, oh my gosh, that team's going to be nasty as hell. Even though they have Philip Gustafsson already, which is just he's already like a top 15 most underrated goaltender in the league. But they have they have like Zeev Boyum coming through the pipes. It is just incredible. They went through the whole Rossi situation, but that's something. But why does Kaprizov not take 16 million? Because he probably does think he can get 18, 19 million over the open market, which will make Minnesota cough up more money. But Minnesota, I genuinely believe if it is because he does not, I do not believe it's because of money. I believe he does not want to be in Minnesota. And if he doesn't want to be in Minnesota, well, there's a place on Long Island that really likes Russians for some reason. We have like 6 Russians on the roster, which I'm not complaining. If the Islanders finally get that big fish, and I think it will be Kaprizov. I do McDavid, pipe dream. He's not coming here. It's McDavid. He does not care about Long Island. It's Long Island, even though I love Long Island from there. But it is so frustrating watching that the fact that like seeing that this whole story unfold where it's, oh no, it's fine, everything's okay. I don't think everything's okay. I genuinely don't think it's a money thing. I genuinely believe that it is he doesn't like Minnesota. He does not want to stay there. And yeah, that's I think he'll be in New York some way or another. Probably not. I mean, Panarin is probably going to sign somewhere else. He's probably not staying in New York. I don't think the Rangers fans like him anymore. I don't think the management likes him that much anymore. I don't know. I don't keep up with the Rangers because I hate the Rangers. But I do believe that we are seeing another Panarin situation where a 29, 28-year-old Russian star in his prime is coming over in a big free agent deal, just like he did. I mean, even though Maxim Shabanov is the next Artemi Panarin, but you haven't heard that first. Yeah, that's all I have for today. It was a little bit of a mess. First time new to this whole radio, a little nerve-wracking. I did sound like a little bit of a mess. You could see it, you could hear it. But yeah, that's it for me. That's all I have to say about stupid sports. This has been Generic Talking Sports Show, GTSS on WIRU Radio. Thank you for listening. Thank you if you somehow listened to this whole thing, just rambling about random things. Thank you, and I really appreciate it. No idea what else to really discuss, even though, yeah, I think I'm done. How do I how do I end this? Not exactly.